I'm Richard Fitzgerald. This is Dubai Works, where we interview the business leaders making a difference in this great city.
That business with scalability was very interesting to me.
I like building something that has legacy.
Okay, first of all, apologies. We missed 2 weeks. We've never missed weeks, so we missed the last 2 weeks. We missed one during the National Day, and then there was a last-minute cancellation last week. But we'll be back on track. We'll do double episodes in the coming weeks, and we do have episodes lined up for sort of 8 weeks in advance. But sometimes, due to circumstances, we're unable to go live on that Thursday. Anyway, I want to thank you all. This will be the second last episode of 2021. I want to thank you all for listening throughout the year. It's been really interesting. We've had a lot of diverse guests, and wishing you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And this episode is with another industry, wellness, that we haven't really touched on a lot, and it's a timely time to talk about it. Another great Dubai business story. 10 years of business in a wellness center. Amrit Schmidt is the founder and CEO of Miracles in Dubai, and she tells her story. Enjoy the conversation. Welcome back to another episode of Dubai Works Business Podcast. On this episode, we're speaking to Amrit Schmidt, the founder and CEO of Miracles Dubai, a wellness and development center that uses a mix of clinical and holistic therapies on individuals and corporate entities. So today we're going to be talking about the business, Miracles Dubai, the health and wellness industry in Dubai, and also the plans for the new year and plans for the future. Good morning, Amrit.
Hi, good morning.
Thanks for joining.
For having me.
And thank you for joining. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here.
So can you tell us about Miracles Dubai, how it came about, what is it, and how and your background as well?
Yeah, sure. So Miracles started in the end of 2012, early 2013. And basically, I've been in the wellness industry for about 18 years now as a practicing therapist myself. And because I got my degree in business, I kind of wanted to combine the therapy part of it and the business part of it, just to sort of make our services around wellness and self-development more accessible to people all over the world, ideally, So I basically have been working in different spaces. I had my own private practice. I lived in America. I moved through different countries. I was in Bahrain, I was in Oman, and then I landed in Dubai a little over 10 years ago. And I found at the time that people were interested, but they weren't very aware as they are today. And I met a lot of people when I arrived here because of how diverse and how massive this space is, and I noticed that there seemed to be an interest in this work, and people really wanted it and needed it. And through my own personal experience of navigating through this process, I eventually started this wellness center, this platform called Miracles. Like I said, late 2012, early 2013. And the vision was to just offer alternative therapy, wellness, meditations, workshops, classes, and just, services around self-development in this country and in this region.
Wow, amazing.
So, yeah.
Great story. Two kind of things to that there before I talk about the practice is you had worked in a few different places in the region in the US. Do you think those experiences sort of helped you to shape what Miracles became?
Yes, in the sense that it really did give me the experience of running a wellness center from a business perspective and understanding it from a therapy perspective and a client perspective. So, it kind of gave me that 360 view on what was required in order to create something, that is fairly successful and that connects with people in that way as well. know. And I do feel, however, that in Dubai, in the UAE, the market is so different to North America or in other parts because they're so diverse. Like people here are from everywhere, you know. So the kind of stories we hear, the kind of cases we work with are really, really interesting. They're unique, and they're super, super gratifying. Like for a lot of people on our team, even when we speak in-house as therapists, they're like, "This is like amazing, the kind of cases we work with here in this region." So yes, it definitely did help in a certain sense, but also like I guess the exposure to the market here is quite new in a certain sense as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and your background in business or your degree, and then you were when you practice as a therapist, what did you specialize in, and what did you think was important as an offering for Miracles, or the services to offer?
So yeah, so I actually started in alternative therapy. There's a segment called energy healing, okay, like Reiki healing, pranic healing, chakras, crystals, things like that. So I started working with energy work when I was really, really young. I was probably 14 years old or something like that. And I took it on as soon as I could when I was 18. And I started my career in the spa industry actually. And I really understood how the body works, how the systems work. And when you're in the spa industry, you can also kind of branch out to alternative therapy. So then I got trained and I got certified in hypnotherapy, in family constellations, in theta healing, access consciousness, so many different, pretty much, I would say 80% of the modalities and services that we offer at Miracles, I have practiced it as a therapist myself. So my journey as a therapist has been quite vast and extensive in that sense. I got my degree a little over 10 years ago. And, it was just a matter of, I feel like, especially in the work that we do, we've got to draw that line between making it commercial and really providing a service that empowers and heals people, So I think too much of one side is not healthy. So I think my experience with my qualifications kind of every day teaches me to walk that middle line, with not making it too commercial or too, I would say, just too not commercial, so to speak. So yeah, we just every day is learning, I think.
Interesting. Is there sort of a guiding vision or mission that helps keep that in track? That, do you say that you put your clients first? Do you say that you're not profit at all costs? Like, is there a way to keep it like that, or do you try and provide excellency in the product and services?
See, we really believe, like I really, really believe in having high standards, because we're working with people's lives, and we're going into really private, personal, sensitive places. So we have to have a really strong sense of professionalism. We have to have high standards. We have to have quality standards. And I think it is about really that balance I was talking about earlier. For a lot of people in this industry, it can be a very confusing place because you're a professional, but at the same time, you're working with something that's so personal, So how do you stay in the middle and not go too far either way? I think is just something that we do when we work with clients. And obviously we have our in-house trainings, we have orientations, we work with quality standards, all that kind of stuff. So
yeah. Interesting. So what are some of the milestones since 2011, 2012 to now, 10 years later, the journey of Miracles that you can point out or you would consider important milestones?
From a business perspective, I think the fact that, we have grown, our outreach has increased like crazy. We have entered international markets because we not only do we have an online presence, but we travel to different parts of the world sometimes. We invite different people from different parts of the world over. So I think our outreach locally and internationally has definitely been something that has grown and increased. I think also the fact that we introduce a lot more classes and services and techniques and offerings. So even our services have expanded in that way. And I think as a business, we've grown in all these different ways. But I also have to say, on a personal level, it's a bit hard to look at it as milestones because every day you see lives transform in front of you. So when you see someone coming in who's been struggling, who feels stuck, who doesn't know what to do, where to go, etc., and they come in and their lives completely change, you think, yes, this is why we do what we do, to create that kind of impact in the world and to just, create different possibilities for people as much as we can.
Amazing, interesting. And so you have a clinic and wellness center in Dubai, and what goes into that? I haven't been, unfortunately, yet. So can you just tell us?
You must come.
Yeah, but
come have a coffee with us.
I would like to. Yeah, amazing. And but what's the experience like for people going in, and what are the type of services, and what are the types of therapists that you have?
So we have services we have basically, to make it really simple, it's segregated into two, right? You have the private sessions where people come in for one-on-one sessions. We have different therapists, different techniques, different modalities that we use that is customized for the individual. Okay, we offer complimentary consultation sessions for the first time they come in to understand exactly what's going on and then create a therapy plan accordingly for them. Okay, with the right therapist. Then the second part of it is that we offer group sessions. Under the group sessions, we have meditations, workshops, certified courses, support groups, coffee mornings. We go as far as movie nights, to create that community. So we try to sort of offer something for everyone. And the people who come to Miracles are people who may be struggling with something in life. They may be fine, just curious. They just want to have a sense of wellness, well-being. They want to feel harmonized, balanced, and, just manage stress in day-to-day life. And some just come to have fun and just, we also offer laughter yoga and laughter therapy. So they just want to let their hair down and just, have a good time. So it's really interesting because people come for different reasons.
Amazing.
To Miracles.
So is it a combination of, one-on-one? Is there counseling as well, and yoga and massages? Because I haven't done Reiki myself.
So we're basically a wellness center. We're not a clinic. Okay. And we're not a spa or a massage center. So we don't really do massages or body therapies as such. It's something I'm hoping to include in the future. But at the moment, we don't offer that. We primarily work with the mind, with the emotions, with the energy system. And I guess the body is a part of it. And for that, we offer things like laughter yoga. Sometimes we may do some stretching and things like that. But it's more the mind, body, soul interplay that we work with using techniques like hypnotherapy and constellation and coaching, things like that.
Interesting. Okay. Before we move into more about the industry and wellness in general, how has the business performed? Have you found it different peaks of troughs? Do you see that there's increased demand in Dubai for this type of wellness center over the last 10 years? And how have you got through the pandemic as well?
Yeah. So I know the pandemic, excuse me, and what's happening in the world today has been quite difficult for a lot of people. Having said that, I think somewhere it's also a blessing in disguise because it's made people a lot more aware of mental health, about their sense of well-being and the quality of their lives. A lot of people are taking stock and reassessing, their life. So in that way, it's really contributed massively to the business per se, because a lot of people are booking in, they're calling in. We were super, super busy during the pandemic and continue to be. So obviously we were shut down, so we offered a lot of our services online. And maybe, to answer your earlier question, that's probably a milestone too, that we got through the pandemic and as a business, and we sort of thrived in it almost. So yeah, I think to answer your question, the pandemic has been a blessing, and we have grown in that sense just to create more awareness about this work and more interest for people to book in and really take care of themselves at a much deeper level.
Interesting. And when if you try and educate me and the uninitiated, but I know of celebrity type people out there who specialize in the alternative treatments, and you see people videos explaining, you see events that people can attend to meet these people, you see books that they've produced. How does it work? Are these treatments, do you follow their theories, or do your specialists have their own theories, and how does the content and the services work that way?
Thank you for asking this question, because it's a really important question, and we get asked this a lot, actually. See, the thing is that a lot of people out there are talking about your personal health, your sense of well-being, and primarily how the mind works and how your mindset is, right? And to create a formula for success, so to speak. Okay. Now, the thing is, when it comes to the mind and when it comes to all these things that people are talking about, it's not a one size fits all formula. Okay. People have to find what works for them, what resonates with them. And it's like saying you can't have one doctor to fix everything. Everyone will have their own doctor that gets them, or or a therapy or a technique that resonates with them, because it's not a copy paste model. We're so unique as individuals, it just wouldn't be fair to approach it in that way, I think. So we definitely need to look for someone who's certified, someone who's trained, like a proper certified trained professional. There are a lot of people out there who are, self-proclaimed professionals overnight by doing a few courses. So we definitely need to find the right people to work with. But what exactly it is that we should be doing is really a trial and error thing at this stage. I think in our industry, you have to find what works for you. And also, I'm sorry, I just want to add one more thing. I truly personally believe that the first step to any sort of healing work or any sort of therapy work is finding the right therapist to work with. Okay. When you find someone or you meet someone that really gets the pulse of what's going on with you and creates a plan or creates a process that truly identifies all the pain points and knows how to get you out of it, then half the job is done there. And then it's just a matter of applying the techniques and, facilitating that process. But what happens a lot of times is people go in with therapy and, they've done all these sessions and the therapist is still trying to figure out what the root is and what's going on. So, there are just a few things to look out for when people read books. And it's always good to educate yourself, like be aware, learn, explore, educate yourself, and then you'll know what works for you.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I like that. Always learning. What type of people come in? You mentioned earlier that it's amazing. It's representative, I think, of Dubai with the diversity but from a point of view of who approaches a wellness center, is it someone who is aware, first of all, of wellness center and of Miracles, that might have more mental health issues, or is it a little bit related to physical ailments and they want to try something new, or is it a combination?
It's definitely a combination of both. Now, I think in the times in the day we live in today, I think people are really moving away from that stigma, that point of view that, mental health and energy healing and alternative therapy is hocus pocus. There's way too much data out there to prove otherwise. Okay. So when people come, they're a lot more aware of what they're looking for now than before. I mean, there was a time before you couldn't say the word energy. People would think you're a kook. you know?
Yeah.
So I'm really super grateful of the level of awareness people have today. But also, you still have the people who come to us or to this industry as the last resort when they've tried everything else, nothing's worked, and they're like, I'm just here now, find a way to fix me, you know?
Yeah.
So, like I said, whatever works, but yeah, it just depends on the individual.
Okay. When you say you see results, are they more on the energy level, or does the mind and the body can be
Yeah,
related? Yeah.
honestly, it's yeah, the mind, the emotions, the energies, and the body. All these four things are all interconnected. Okay, it's not possible for one to be affected and the other is not to be.
Mm.
Okay, even if you cut your finger, for instance, you're affected on a mental level, emotional level, physical level, and energetic level.
Mm.
Okay, so when people come to us, the idea is to address all levels of them so that when it's resolved, it doesn't come back. So they may come in with, I don't know, anxiety, or I don't know, my stomach's been off. And that leads to, a deeper reason as to why that's happening. And then when we resolve that completely, it completely heals them mentally, emotionally, physically, energetically, and in every way.
Amazing.
So it's individual in a certain sense, but also we look at the whole system so that whatever it is, whether it's like you said, a physical issue or a mental issue, we just resolve it completely to ensure it doesn't come back.
Amazing. So touching a little bit around the industry, and particularly in Dubai, where do you see the wellness, in the status quo of the wellness industry? Do you think that there's enough practitioners in Dubai? Do you think there's enough awareness around wellness? Do you think the ecosystem is developed out in terms of wellness centers, in terms of products, in terms of experts, and where do you think we are versus maybe the US or somewhere else you've been?
Yeah. I definitely believe that we have a lot more healers and therapists and facilitators in Dubai now than ever before. Not only locally, because there are a few places here that teach classes, and now there are all these courses available online. So people are certifying themselves, they're educating themselves, and so the industry is sort of churning out more and more healers, facilitators, therapists, and trainers. Okay. But in addition to this, you also have all these people who are coming from other parts of the world to Dubai. So definitely, these services are becoming more available. There are a lot more people offering it. The industry is definitely growing. I think also with the wellness industry, because it's so vast and varied and diverse, even in terms of how many different modalities and services that exist under this umbrella, it's going to be interesting to see how this is regulated and how do you actually do any sort of quality control on this. So that's the flip side of it. Like, how do you know the facilitators and therapists that are the good, qualified, who know what they're doing versus the ones who, just do it as a hobby and think it's great to heal the world? And, as much as, that's very noble and it's good that they need to exist too, because we all have started somewhere.
Interesting.
But I think quality control is really important because you're working with people's lives and you're working with their mind and their state of being. So I think it's definitely to be taken a lot more seriously.
And that's a really interesting point. And how is it being regulated at the moment? Obviously from a commercial regulation point of view, but is there any quality control? It reminds me of someone explained the difference in education between a dietitian and a nutritionist, and there is more. Quality is to do with expertise as well, and training and background. So is there a way, is there a way for the sort of buyer beware? Is there a way for the person to check that they're entering into reputable arrangement or wellness center?
Yeah, I can't really comment on other places because that wouldn't be fair. But at Miracles, for sure, we have to make sure that everyone's paperwork, their credentials, their experience, that there's a requirement that they have to fulfill before they're taken on board as a facilitator or a therapist. So I know right off the bat that at Miracles, the people that we have in place are the people who come with that level of quality service expertise and experience, right? But even so, I always tell everyone, do your homework, do a background check, find out about that individual who's working with you, find out. And now it's so easy to find out about people online. People have so much more access than they ever did before. So I would just say, do your homework at this stage. And, if you have questions, please ask questions. What's the difference between a coach and a therapist? What's the difference, like you said, between a nutritionist and a dietitian? And that's why, we have the free consultations, because sometimes someone comes in thinking that they know what they want, but actually what they need is something completely different. So we're always educating people as well on what's going on and what they're looking for, even if it's outside Miracles, Let's suppose someone needs a therapist and not a coach. We'd say, even if you go outside of Miracles, find a therapist. That's what our recommendation is.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just about doing your background check.
That's great. But I think we'll talk about technology later, but in other markets, there's regulation, but then there's also sort of community regulation in terms of apps and recommendations and ratings and things like that. And that's part of it's part of a developed ecosystem, right? It's part of, that type of thing. Is there a network in Dubai where, your wellness center might partner with other sort of hospitals or clinics or things like that? And are there stamps and certificates and industry bodies that can verify your sort of 10 years experience and things like that?
See, the thing is, in Dubai, let's suppose we talk about a hypnotherapist, okay? When you have a hypnotherapist in Dubai, I'm just using hypnotherapy as an example, you have, someone who comes from the American School of Hypnotherapy, from the Canadian School of Hypnotherapy, from the UK School of Hypnotherapy, from the Australian School of Hypnotherapy. So they're all different in a certain sense. So how would you regulate that, technically speaking? Okay. Having said that, I do truly believe that the Dubai Health Authority, especially in the mental health space, is doing an amazing job with trying to regulate it as much as they can, which is why you need to have proper licensing and all of those things from DHA.
Okay.
So I think in terms of this specific space here in this region, they have their way of regulating it so that we make sure we have the right people that are licensed and certified on board. But in terms of apps and collaborating with those kind of spaces, I know that there are a few apps in Dubai, and there are a few public communities that offer these services. But I think it's, again, an individual thing, and it's great, they should. But I think individuals still need to do their homework.
Interesting.
It's just so diverse. That's the thing. It's the diversity, which is the beauty of it, but also it becomes a bit tricky sometimes. Yeah.
Interesting. Kind of switching tact, but taking up what you mentioned there about individuals researching and then individuals' responsibility. And I want to phrase this in a certain way because it's something I've been thinking about lately. The corporate responsibility. You work with companies, you work with corporates. Well-being is so part of the workplace. It's so part of stress that work can create and things like that. And I was at a few conferences recently, and when this topic comes up, I often wonder where the responsibility is. Some leadership or some founders spoke about providing funds and paying for mental health and therapy sessions through the pandemic and doing that. And I always wondered, is that the responsibility of, as a business owner, is that the responsibility of a business owner, or is it the responsibility of the individuals? And if so, if it's the responsibility of the business owner, mental well-being, then where does the line stop with regards to gyms and all of the other things, as well? So wondering what your views are on that.
I honestly believe it's both. I think it is the responsibility of business owners, and it's also the responsibility of the individual. Okay, business owners and companies that are doing this, I mean, it's always good for companies to take care of their team. It's always good for people, for, business owners to take care of their people. Like, this is something that has always been a standard good business practice. Now with the rise and with the awareness of mental health, um, there are a lot of companies and there are a lot of places, whether it's gyms, wellness centers, yoga studios, whatever, that are happy to collaborate with companies in a way that is not too challenging for the company to do. People are happy to work with people. So where the companies themselves draw the line is, I think, based on the individual companies. I think it's going to vary from company to company depending on their budgets, the way they're set up, the number of employees they have, etc. Right? Now, on an individual level, people should be taking care of themselves regardless, period. Like, take care of yourself. You go to the gym, you brush your teeth, you take a shower, you take care of your external body. What's going on inside you? Why is that like forgotten or not considered, rather? So I think mental health and going to the gym and yoga and doing all of these things for your mental health should be a part of people's lifestyle now. We've got to normalize this now. So definitely it should always be something that is an individual responsibility for sure, but it's good for companies to do that too.
Okay, and
in their own way.
Interesting. And then, so the company, if for example, if Augustus Media approached Miracles and said, hey, we've got 25, 30 people in Dubai and we want to put something together, a program, or we want to provide something for them, how would that work?
Okay, so what we would do is we would have a meeting firstly and understand exactly what your team is looking for. Okay, because again, it's different with every company. We have a set list of services and trainings and sessions that we can offer, but I also feel like it's really nice to customize it for the business too. Is it for your HR team? Is it for your management team? Is it for your sales team? It may vary. Right. Okay. So when we have this initial kickoff meeting with your team and we understand what's going on, then we'd send you options and we could create something bespoke. We'll send you a list of our services that you could pick from, and then it would be a matter of us coming and facilitating it for you.
Interesting. So you could do it. You facilitate for company. It could be a workshop event for a weekend. It could be a wellness retreat. It could be
absolutely
long-term. Yeah.
It could be a 30-minute or a 60-minute power hour, or it could be like a week-long retreat.
Yeah.
There's no limit to where we can go with this.
Yeah.
So I think when we understand.
Sorry, no, and you could also, the company, could engage with Miracles, and then people could do it at an individual level through the company as well.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. We have some companies that we work with. Because of confidentiality, I can't really share who they are, but we do regular workshops with them. We also have employee discounts and discounts for their family as well, family discounts. So they come in, and if they need individual support, if they need success coaching, any of that stuff, then we offer it to them on the individual level. And we can also do weekly or monthly workshops and sessions and classes and stuff like that for them too. So yeah, and we've done weekend stuff too. So yeah, it just depends what they're looking for and what they'd like.
Very good.
We've also had a time when we've had a coach sit in their office twice a week and work with individuals in the office, like having an in-house performance coach, so to speak. Or they would come to us, whatever works for them.
Yeah, I mentioned in the intro that the self-development part is, it's also part of one's career, and, all sort of performance reviews have that element of development. So you can do that type of development for the workplace coaching as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's all about, even in the workplace, it's about your mindset. How are you coming to work? How do you feel at work? How are you communicating with your team? What is your level of productivity? Are you you feel loyal and aligned with the company and with the brand?
Mm,
And where are you at on an individual level, and then where are you at on a collective level?
interesting.
You know?
So Amrit, so from two other topics related to all of this, but firstly technology, and then want to talk about the region. And technology is quite a broad horizontal. It can, there can be health tech, there can be many things here. But first of all, how are Miracles using technology? Obviously, it's a very kind of people-centric service you're providing, but is there technology involved in how you run the business and how you work with people?
So at the moment, we offer a lot of online sessions, classes, meditations, and services through Zoom. Okay. And we haven't really developed any apps or anything yet. It is part of our future plan. Now, the interesting thing is, and I always have this conversation with people in my industry because I have like a point of view about this. I love technology. I think it's really important. It's definitely where we're headed. However, I also feel that in the work that we do, that personal connection is really, really important. Sometimes with technology, people feel like some sort of a distance or a disconnect in some way. So I feel that we've got to find a way, even through technology, to connect on a personal level.
Okay.
And we've had a lot of clients who say to us that we'd rather come and see you one-on-one than do an online session. And we've looked at that data and we've looked at why is that? How can we create that one-on-one experience online? And it's just different. It's just different. So we're trying to work on that and see what we can do and how can we make that happen.
Maybe it's the metaverse. Maybe we're all in the virtual world. Yeah. But I guess I think that's interesting. But I think around your business in this day and age, you'll have other parts. So you'll obviously use social media, so marketing technology. You'll use, if clients are booking an appointment, they will get an automated email and things like that. So do you use software as a service like that as well? And
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we have CRM systems in place. We use all those kind of things to make it as smooth and as efficient as possible for the client experience.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I think everyone was doing that. Of course, if you set up a business in the last 10 years, it's impossible not to without technology. But we were accelerated as well during the pandemic, weren't we? In terms of signing just everything. Yeah. Interesting. So maybe there will be more development on technology in this region around wellness and apps and things like that. But it's a good space to watch.
I really hope so. It's really exciting.
Yeah. Would you? So if you did apps and things like that, would you think of it for to improve, to be part of your business, to be part of Miracles, or would you think, oh, this is more like a platform, or would you try and treat it like a different startup, or is your focus on Miracles?
I think at Miracles we have so much to offer that in my mind at this stage it would make sense to do it through Miracles, because we're a world of services and content. So whether we do a meditation on an app, or we offer something to read, or something for people to practice, or whatever we offer on apps, there's so much that we can create just through the Miracles platform that I think it would make sense for me to do it through that for now.
Interesting. Just thought of something while you were speaking there. In terms of content, is that something that you would do as well? Provide maybe wellness podcasts or different things like that?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's all part of our future plans.
Great. Good. Cool. Yeah. Last thing, this is a Dubai Works Business podcast, but we always ask around the region, and interested, the typical question is, do you believe in this region? Do you think that it's an emerging market? And, from your perspective of having worked in other countries in the region as well, how do you see Dubai, and how do you see the sort of environment in the region, particularly around the wellness industry?
Honestly, I truly believe that over here in this region, in this country, sky is the limit, and it's on you what you do with it. you know. I think that there's really no limit to what could happen here. And it's such a beautiful, expansive, creative space. It's great for creativity in a way, you know, because there's so much possible. So I think that this is definitely an extremely emerging market at this stage. And I mean, clearly, you know, and it's going to be super interesting to see what happens in the wellness industry here. Because you know, when like I said, you know, I came to Dubai about 10 years ago, and 10 years ago, it was so like, it's almost like what it is now. It was like that in the US back in North America back then, you know? So we've like not only caught up, but now we're like superseding almost, you know, in some way. So yeah, it'd be really, really interesting to see how it goes.
And you work with international clients, but if you were to open up another branch of Miracles, would it be within Dubai, within the UAE, or within the region? And if the region, what would make this be deciding factors for where you would go?
Obviously, like the deciding factors would be, you know, good old supply and demand, you know, where people are interested, where there's a demand for this work. It would most definitely be in the region. I don't see why not. I think the more awareness we create and more of these things that we offer to people here, it's much needed. You know, it's a city life. People are stressed, they're busy. It's hectic. And also, you know, I also have to say, what's really interesting about here is that because there's such a big expat community, everyone is away from their support systems. You know, people are away from home in their heads, you know. So in other parts of the world, like it's their home, it's their community, it's their neighborhood, their families are there. Anyone has an issue, you know, that they have that, even that psychological support system. But in Dubai somewhere, maybe that's missing because people are away from home, you know? So yeah, I think wherever it's required. I mean, even North America, like I said, you know, I go to Canada a lot. I used to actually pre-pandemic. We used to go there a lot for sessions and services. There's definitely a huge demand there as well. So yeah, it just really depends on what shows up.
Amazing, interesting. Does sound like there's going to be a lot more demand in Dubai as well, though. So your hands might be full.
Absolutely, yeah, sure.
And leading into the new year, what are the New Year's resolutions for Miracles? And do you see an uptick in people? You know, new year, new you. Are people's minds more focused on wellness in January? Is that a cyclical thing?
Yes, that is. That all the resolutions are coming up now.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. I think people are they're very focused on how, you know, their 2022 is going to be the best year ever and things like that. And why not? Like, go for it. Let's do it, you know. The one thing that I would say though, just from my observations and from my own personal experience as well, just be really, really open to change, you know, ride that wave, you know. In fact, find a way in your own way to enjoy it, because there's so much change the world is going through right now, you know, and people's choices are changing, their lives. A lot of people are leaving their jobs and starting their own businesses. A lot of business people are shutting down their businesses and going back to, you know, 9-to-5 jobs. So it's okay. Change is a really beautiful thing. You know, make friends with change actually. And you'd be surprised, it could end up working for you rather than against you. So it's a really, really exciting time. Let's see what the new year brings.
Amazing. Embrace the change. I like that positive note.
Yeah, embrace the change.
To finish up. Amazing. Thank you, Amrit. Lovely hearing about Miracles. Wish you all the best and continued success, and we'll follow your journey. That was very interesting. I definitely learned a lot. It's one of the areas I don't know a whole lot about, so I tried to explore it, and Amrit was really nice to talk to, and definitely going to try and get down there and check it out and have a look and see what we can do on a personal and corporate level. So thank you to Shahir and Ali for producing the show. Thank you all for listening. If you're listening on a podcast app, please do leave a comment. It helps with podcast SEO, if that's a thing. Subscribe, and also do check out smashy.tv, Smashy TV, iOS, Android, and very, very shortly going to be on Apple TV and other smart TV devices as well. There's a 7-day free trial. And for Dubai Works, do let us know what guests you would like coming up next year. If you like this wellness one, if you'd like more wellness guests as well. And we've one more episode next Thursday before we finish off for the year. So speak to you then.